The Denver Broncos could be 3-0 right now, and they are 1-2. We have a lot to discuss about this football team, and I think there is one main problem. Let's talk about it in about 30 seconds. DNVR Broncos post-game show. Welcome into the Losers Lounge, presented by Bet365, the Toyota Lounge, of course, here at the DNVR Bar. And I'm gutted, man. I'm gutted. This is a team that could be 3-0 right now with everything in front of them. They could be 2-1 with everything in front of them. And they find themselves at 1-2. After a really familiar ending to a football game. RK here with Super Bowl 50 champion Bennie Fowler. We got Henry over in the Hank Tank. We'll have Zach Stevens joining us from Los Angeles in just a few minutes. Let's just jump right in, Benny. What's your biggest takeaway?
Biggest takeaway for me would be Sean Payton. Sean Payton and his coaching. They always talk about either you're coaching it or you're allowing it to happen. And this has been back-to-back weeks with the penalties, with missed opportunities, with misusing timeouts, with questionable calls. Sean Payton is my biggest takeaway. We are paying Sean Payton $20 million a year. I don't know where that ranks. It might be the highest of the coaches who are getting paid in the NFL. But when I think about these close losses, these 23-20 last week's loss, I'm putting it on Sean Payton. Sean Payton, you're supposed to be this incredible play caller. You are supposed to design these plays where people are open. And yes, the receivers were supposed to make some plays today. I think Bo missed some throws. But when it comes down to the small details, Sean Payton's got to be better. Sean Payton, I feel like he's been outcoached in the late game situations. And this is where, I've played for Sean, and I think he's an incredible teacher. And I think, at least when I played with him, he was teaching those small details. But this is also the guy who said that this is a Super Bowl team. This is a team that he felt really good about, that one of the 6 or 7 teams that he has coached, that this could be a Super Bowl team. And he is not coaching like a Super Bowl coach.
Yeah, I think the Broncos are now 2-9 in their last 11 one-score games, and one of those wins is the Titans game, which they won by 8, which never really felt like a one-score game, but I guess they get the credit for that one. 2-9. It's all too familiar. I feel like we're sitting over there on the watch-along set watching this all unfold, just kind of like knowing what was going to happen.
Yep.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know how, as a team, you can learn to have killer instinct and make the big plays at the right time. But this team severely lacks that killer instinct. And, this is another one where it's like, it wasn't as bad as last week where you had so many opportunities to extend a lead and you didn't do it. This one, I think you just needed points on one of your last 2 drives to either win this game or go to overtime. And they failed at it again. And so to go to your point on Sean Payton, like, that should be the time when his best stuff comes out and we're just like, wow, look at the way they just went down the field. I mean, Chargers did it to us.
100%.
Coming back the other way against, arguably a better defense. Probably talk about that later as well. But I don't know what it is, man. It's to go back to your point of coaching. 2-9 in one-score games over the last 11 it has to fall on the coaching.
It's got to fall on coaching. And when it comes down to those little wins, or not little wins, but close losses, I should say, that's where the coaching, I think, makes the biggest difference. I think sometimes when you're getting blown out, you could talk about effort and those things, but right now we're talking about small details, little details that the Broncos are missing, penalties that they're committing. I mean, and like the body slam by Talanoa Hufanga.
Yep.
Unacceptable play. All the penalties that we had, you can't have that. You cannot be sitting in 3rd and long all day long. Everybody's getting on Bo, which we'll get to later, but it's hard to complete. It's hard to get first downs on 3rd and 10 and 3rd and 12 all game.
Yeah. So you mentioned the Talanoa Hufanga body slam, and that leads to my biggest takeaway, which is discipline, which is related to yours because discipline comes from coaching. But
100%.
This is back-to-back weeks where in crunch time, in the biggest moments of the game, in the time where you should be the most detailed, the most on your P's and Q's, the most by the book, the Broncos have inexcusable, unforced error penalties that completely changed the game. Last week it was the J.K. Dobbins spiking the ball, which started that drive going backwards and ended up in the missed field goal from Will Lutz. And this week it's Talanoa making that play. And I hate to have to throw something on Talanoa because he was great in this game, I thought. And he's so fun to watch. And I love the effort and I love the intensity he brings to the game. But you just have to know in that situation, you've got them all the way pushed back on their own side of the field. Okay, they convert the 3rd and 9, but they're still a long ways away from scoring position. You body slam him. Now they're at the 50-yard line, and they ended up going down and scoring a touchdown on that drive to tie the football game. And it's just like, or was that the, yeah, that was.
Mm-hmm. The penalties are inexcusable, man. Like, I'm right there with you. Chargers on the second drive of the second half, illegal contact on Pat, PI on Talanoa Hufanga, holding on JFM. On the third drive, they did really well. Broncos' fourth drive, we had a penalty. I mean, there were penalties all in the second half. I have a whole bunch of notes here that I took throughout the game that I have to organize, but we had too many penalties. I mean, 10 penalties for 90 yards. I mean, you can't win the game like that. And it's not just on the defense. I mean, there are offensive penalties. The face mask on Bolsey, the offsides on Troutman. You know, these are things that have to be cleaned up. You cannot win. You cannot be a championship team committing penalties or beating yourself. We talked about it during the watch along, and I think it's like it's a 7% chance that you have a chance to score if you get a sack, or if you have a negative penalty, or if you have a negative start to your drive with a penalty. You know, you go from 1st and 10 to 1st and 20 or 2nd and 20. You cannot win games like that. It's too hard on the offense. There are not a lot of play calls out there in the playbook for 1st and 20 or 2nd and 20 or 2nd and 18. There are not a lot of play calls for that. So coaching, man, coaching, the little details, penalties, cannot beat yourself.
And so to go to the just back to 10 penalties for 90 yards, which is like some high school shit. The opposite side of that is 3 penalties for 25 yards for the Chargers. I mean, we could probably point to several different areas where you could say that was the difference in the game, but that feels like a really big one to me in this one. And it's just not acceptable. And I want to throw this back to you because the idea of discipline, I think, is a really hard thing to quantify. But I'm sure you've been on some teams that were disciplined and some teams that were undisciplined. What is the difference?
I would say the difference is, number one, the coaching. And then the coaching, great coaching, permeates down to the players and then the accountability. So, yes, Sean has to do his job, and this has to be better, starting with him, with the little details, the penalties, and coaching these things up. But then it has to go to your leaders and your captains, and then they have to hold people accountable. When I think about the captains on our Super Bowl team, you obviously have Payton, incredible. His standard of performance in the way he operated, he would correct that himself. Then you have an Aqib Talib, a TJ Ward, a DeMarcus Ware. Those guys, they just knew the importance in the little details, so they would continue to harp on those things. Yeah. But not only Payton, you have a guy like Demaryius, the late great Demaryius Thomas. He didn't commit penalties, or he would check you in the huddle. Those things have to start happening now. Sean can only do so much, and yes, it is still on him because it starts at the top. But now your captains have to start. Got to start answering those things, and your players got to step up and they got to make those plays.
Absolutely. Let's bring in the third member of our team here over to the Hank Tank. for Hank. Hank, what's your biggest takeaway?
To me, the biggest takeaway, you guys hit the nail on the head with yours too. I'd throw in there, the Broncos are close. And I don't mean that as like a good thing though, because we thought the Broncos were there. Like we came into the season thinking like the Broncos are, here they come. They have the defense, Bo Nix year 2. They add talent to the offense. Run game should be clicking a little bit more. But they're still in the same category where they were last year. Like that team I watched today looks just like the team that I watched last year, which is a team that's really close to being good. It's just that when push comes to shove, they aren't a team that finds a way to win the game. And, last year we talked a lot about they have the one win against, or 2 wins, I guess, teams with winning records. They beat the Buccaneers. That's a really good road win they had last year. They beat the Chiefs in Week 18, 38-zip without the starters. We've all heard those stories. They had 2 chances to beat 2 good teams. Like I think the Colts are a playoff team. The Colts look like they're going to win that division. Can't find a way to win that one. Chargers are going to the playoffs. 3-0 start. Nothing's a guarantee in the NFL, but all the numbers would say that's a team that's going to be in the postseason. And the Broncos are a team that comes really, really close to beating those teams, but just can't find a way to do it. And it's disappointing because a month ago we thought that they were a team that had
gotten there.
They're not close anymore. They're there, but it turns out they are still close.
Can I throw something out here?
Yeah.
Are the Broncos right now playing like what we're used to seeing out of the Chargers? You know how we say Chargers are going to Charger.
Don't do this to me.
That stings, but it might be right.
Is that what it is right now? Because the Broncos have opportunities to win last week and this week, and they actually did what the Chargers usually do, which is charger and give the game away. They call the Chargers the Lions of the West, the old Lions, I should say. But are the Broncos now taking over that role right now? Hopefully that changes, but I hate to say it, but that's exactly what's happened the last couple of weeks.
That truth hurts too much for me to acknowledge it. I can't go. I don't even know what to do with that. You just put a sword.
That means it must be true.
You just put a sword through my heart. I don't know what it is, but they're starting to develop a habit of choking, and that is not where you want to be. It just isn't. Now, this is early. Sean Payton teams historically struggle early.
Yes, they do.
There is a world where this team gets over the hump. They've just been there at the hump for, basically since the middle of last season until now. Maybe there is a moment in this season where they climb over it. But man, not being over it and being where they are right now, stuck in this middle ground of close but not good enough, is really frustrating to watch. And the way that they're losing the games makes it even worse. It makes the Toyota chat crash out every time, losing their minds, because it's not fun to watch your football team lose in the way that the Broncos are doing it right now. And I think there's a big conversation to be had about Bo Nix, and I'm excited to have it after I tell you about our friends at Coors Light. Guys, you probably need at least 3 Coors Lights after that one, but we
need a bucket for sure.
Yeah, I would sign off on more personally. That one's tough to swallow, but Coors Light is not. It goes down smooth. It's refreshing. It's delicious, and it lets you know when it's ready to go. It lets you know with those blue mountains that it's time to chill. So I know I need to chill, especially after what Benny just said, sending chill through my body. Make the most of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door by visiting CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
And want to give a shout out to our friends over at Bet365. Geez, I was having a great day. Eagles, the Bucks. I had the Panthers upset and the Browns upset. Didn't wind up parlaying them, but parlayed them individually with the Seahawks to win. Thanks to the early payouts over at Bet365. I got that money with 4 minutes left in the first quarter of that game because they were just blowing them out. Still a good day. It's always a good day. Could have been just a tiny bit better. If you want to get in on the action, there's actually a fun promotion going tonight. If you bet $10, on any player to score the first touchdown in Sunday Night Football. And that player scores the last touchdown, you get a share of the $365,000 in bonus bets. All sorts of bonuses over there. Breaking news from Bet365, you can get $200 in bonus bets if you're a new customer and you bet $5. Win or lose, sign up, use the code DNVR365. Deposit $10, place a bet for $5, get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
All right. Bo Nix, maybe the biggest topic of conversation outside of these walls revolving around this game. I find it interesting that none of our biggest takeaway was Bo Nix because that's the number one thing I'm seeing in my mentions. It's the number one thing I'm seeing in the Toyota chat. I think I'm in a different place than a lot of people on this, but that word that Hank used, I think, is the word of the day, close. And it applies directly to this game. How many plays were they close on?
Yep.
You have Marvin Mims up the right sideline, off his fingertips. You have the one later in the game where he lays out in the end zone. That could have been a touchdown that resulted in a field goal. Close on that one. Of course, the turning point play of the game maybe is Bo up the left sideline to Cortland, close, off his fingertips. And I think it's a perfect microcosm of where Bo Nix is right now. He's close. Now, that's where I'm at. It feels like a lot of people are saying he's done, he's cooked, he's ass, whatever. I'm not there at all. I think Bo's really close, and that's frustrating. But I'm still 100% of the belief that he will get there. It's just hard to watch it right now. He finishes the night 14 of 25 for 153 yards, 1 touchdown, no interception. And I mean, you connect on all 3 of those, we're talking about almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, maybe 3, I guess, if Court gets under that thing and just keeps running. It's right there.
Yeah.
It's right there. Where are you at on Bo, Benny?
I'm still with Bo. I'm still riding with Bo. I think Bo has a tremendous amount of ability. The one thing when I think about Bo, he's in year 2. There is no substitute for experience. He has to continue to learn how to win. Winning in the NFL is different than winning in college. Tim Tebow was one of the most winningest college players of all time. Different when you get to the NFL. Obviously, there was a little bit of Tebow mania here.
I was going to say, he knew how to win somehow, some way, but I know what you're saying.
But, yeah, overall, throughout his entire career, wasn't necessarily like that. I think, Bo you got to go through it to get to it. And that's where we're at with Bo. You have to kind of go with this. You have to go through these growing pains. Right now, we're off to a little bit of a sophomore slump. And that's not all on Bo. That's on Sean and the play calls. And then that's also on the receivers making the plays. I gave a lot of heat to Sean at the beginning of the show, but the 3rd and 19 flea flicker, genius call.
Oh, my God.
Wide open. The double move to Cortland at the end of the game on the bench pump, great call. Knew you were going to get that cover 3 corner, cloud corner, and you do a bench pump, wide open right there. Receiver, quarterback have to be on the same timing and rhythm. The double move basic pump to Marvin over the middle. These are timing things. These are things that you just have to get these reps. You have to go through it to get to it. But Bo wasn't reading these coverages wrong. Either the ball sailed or me being a receiver, when you're playing with a young quarterback, our receiver coach is always taught to make that quarterback right. So you have to be on your details even more. And when I say that, I am talking about the deep balls to Court and then Marvin. You have to run with your head down a couple more steps. If that ball looks like it's sailing on you a little bit more, if you put your head down, you can actually run faster. It's hard to run like this and looking back.
Yeah.
So you have to put your head down and run. Those are the little things that, Bo is going to get the blame for. But as a receiver playing this position and what I've learned, you have to put your head down and run and go make that play for the quarterback. The receivers have to go bail out the young QB. I played with Daniel Jones in New York. They were never going to blame him for anything. He's a young player. The receivers got to go make the play. And that's what I would tell this receiver room right now. You have to go make Bo right. He's reading the coverage right. You got to go make that play. So I'm riding with Bo still. You got to go through it to get to it. I know we live in this microwave society where, you got to be perfect, and we're living off of last year's hype. But those wins and those plays don't carry over to this new season. This is a brand new season, and there's a lot of tape on Bo. And, right now he's struggling a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Those downfield throws, I know Henry had the stat before the game. He was something along the lines of like 6 for 16 on throws of over 20 yards.
10.
What was that?
10 plus 6 for 16.
Oh, over 10 yards.
Including 10.
He's 6 for 16.
He was 6 for 16 coming into the game. He obviously hits one to Cortland that ends in a touchdown, so that'll help it. Maybe there might have been one other one, but he obviously misses 3. That's where he's off right now. He's really struggling to get his feet underneath him before he throws the ball, and I think that's hurting. The throw up the sideline to Marvin, I said on the watch along, it's one that I just think you almost purposefully underthrow it with how uncovered he was. But when I watched the replay of that, I mean, there's the pocket's collapsing behind him, so he has to step up. Then the pocket starts collapsing in front of him, so he almost like has to try to stop his momentum moving forward, get it over a guy. It's a tougher throw. Regardless, he has a really bad habit right now of throwing on the run when he doesn't have to. And it's really, I think, hurting his accuracy on those deep ball throws. But there's so much pushback on me kind of saying, like, I'm not pulling the plug on Bo in the chat. It just takes me back to a conversation we've had a million times before the Broncos had a quarterback, which is the Josh Allen conversation. And everyone always says, like, oh, well, Josh Allen wouldn't be Josh Allen if he came to Denver because we would have run him out of town before he had a chance to turn into him.
1,000%.
And I feel like that's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Like, people are just like, okay, I've seen enough. I'm out on Bo because he missed a couple throws by like 3 inches. I'm not going there. I'm pressing the brakes on that, man. Let's not run Bo out of town before he has a chance to turn into who he is.
Can we use you as an example just as a writer? Did you get better every year as a writer?
Absolutely. As a writer, as a podcaster, as anything you do in life.
And did you have some struggles in there?
Of course.
What if you had given up and just stopped this? We wouldn't even be sitting here right now. And that's kind of the way I approach this.
Yeah, you said it. You got to go through it to get to it.
Yeah, you got to go through it. Like Peyton Manning, worst rookie season of ever by a quarterback.
Yep. Well, most interceptions. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and 3-13 record. Yep. I guess they should have just threw him out right then and there, right?
Yeah.
I guess he was a bust at that point in time. These things are just going to happen. Complex offense. And by the way, I think even if you go back to Bo in college, didn't huddle, not a lot of play calls through the headset. That's also another process that he has to continue to get familiar with. This is growing pains. It happens.
For sure. And, people are saying he has this problem of overthrowing. For sure. He does. That doesn't mean that's not fixable.
100%.
He's incredibly talented and incredibly smart, I think. So he's going to get there. I'm so confident that he's going to get there. Henry, where are you at right now on Bo?
I felt better before the season. I don't even know if that's true. Bo looks a lot like the Bo that we've seen for forever. Doesn't always set his feet, and occasionally it causes trouble. A lot of the time, it goes pretty well, though, and those are the plays that kind of makes him special, is that he can take a mess and make something happen. Overthrowing deep balls. So the night Bo got drafted, we did our live show, and then I went home and watched a whole bunch of Bo on top of what I'd already watched, and by 7 a.m. the next morning, I had a film room posted on Bo. What was one of the big flaws? He overthrows deep balls. It's not anything new. You just kind of hope that it would go away. And I would say that just about everything Bo does looks very similar to what Bo did last year. And it's the hope for growth. We also knew that when you draft Bo, one of the complaints was there might not be a lot of room to grow. He is 25. He's good at what he's good at, and in the right system, he can excel. And I think in this system, he can excel. Even if there were a couple of missed throws. And I don't know that he was done many favors. I think I think he didn't take advantage when he was done a favor on those deep balls. You get a guy open, and because of that, because he's not taking advantage of the plays that Sean is opening up for him, you say he's not being done any favors because of all the screens and the little things that just aren't working right now, and probably because you're not stretching the field. So I think I'm certainly not out on Bo. I think that there's plenty to like. I think the bones of this offense are good. Don't forget, the Broncos were a penalty away from winning last week. They had a couple of opportunities late in this game. Obviously, when you have the ball with 2:48 left in a tie game, you feel like you have a pretty good chance to win the game. So it's not like we're looking at this team the way that Dolphins fans are looking at their team, or Cowboys fans are looking at their team because they just got killed by the Bears. It's a team that, again, is very close. And something needs to get them over the hump. If they just don't get called for penalties, that's enough. If the run game takes another step, that's enough. If Bo plays well, that's enough. So I'm not. There's no need, I don't think, to press the panic button on anything other than like their chances to win the AFC West this year.
The Bo missed 2 deep balls. He missed one to Court, and then he missed one to Mims on the flea flicker, right?
Yep. He had that other one that was in the end zone, which wasn't like a full-on deep ball. But
right.
Yeah.
So I mean, deep balls are hard to complete. I think all quarterbacks complete them at what, 30%, 40%. It's a low percentage of passes 40 yards downfield. So like that's not like quarterbacks just aren't completing 40 and 50-yard throws down the field the entire game. So yeah, should he have hit them? Yes, but those are low percentage throws. It's a long throw. That's 40, 50 yards in the air. Those are tough things. I would also like to go back to football is the ultimate team game. And when we go back to talking about helping Bo out, you can't kill yourself with penalties on drives, going back to the first segment. Some of these penalties on drives, you miss certain things like that. You don't have to pull out your flea flicker on 3rd and 19 if you're not getting penalties and having negative plays. So that's why I'm not all out on Bo. I think everybody around him has to play well too. Bo isn't out here just throwing to himself. Like, there are times where the receivers got to go out and make the special play.
Yeah.
Go make the special play.
Yeah. I'll also say this offense really lacks timing right now across the board. I mean, you look at this stat, which I think goes right to it. 29 first downs by the Chargers tonight.
Jeez.
9 for the Broncos. Third down efficiency, 8 for 17 from the Chargers, 2 for 13 for the Broncos. Total plays, 48 for the Broncos, 80 for the Chargers. That, to me, is because the Chargers are able to move the sticks with timing. It's hit your back foot. Keenan Allen's coming out of a break. It's on his hands. Boom, at the sticks. Move the chains. Right now, we're a very boomer bust offense.
Yep.
And, those big throws that were missed, by the way, are a 3rd and 20. That you pull out a trick play to try and get yourself out of the hole. Amazing trick play, by the way. Yeah. Great execution by both Troy and Marvin to get wide open. And could have gone to either one of them. And the other one's a 3rd and 10 at the end of the game. And 3rd and 10, for the Chargers, they're not throwing it 40 yards down the field because they have timing to fall back on. The Broncos don't have that right now. And I think Sean's just saying, like, well, I know we're going to get a coverage that we can expose deep, so let's just take our chances to try and do it because our timing stuff is not working.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny that you bring this up with the Chargers and how they executed. You said 8 for 17 on 3rd down?
Yep.
How would they have been able to do that 4 years ago or with Justin Herbert in year 2?
Probably not.
All right. Well, they stuck with him, and now look where he's at.
Yeah. I mean, he leveled up this year.
He's leveled up this year, but this is his 2nd year with Harbaugh in this system, but now it's year 6 or 7 for him. So now he's becoming a more complete player. What if the Chargers had just given up on him? This is another Oregon quarterback, somebody who had extreme talent, who struggled to win games early on in his career. But now he's winning those games. They're 3-0 in the division right now. He's playing good football. He's playing clutch football. I think this is where you have to, taking it back to Bo and the Broncos now, this is where you have to be patient and understand that he's going to go through some tough times. Broncos Country, I know you've been waiting for the last 10 years, ever since Payton left, to get back to the playoffs and see some competent football out there from the quarterback position, but that takes time.
Yep.
That takes time.
it's crazy that the term a game of inches as it relates to football is so real for the Broncos right now. We're inches away from hitting a couple of those plays that probably win the game today. Last week, you're inches away from winning the football game, and this team could be 3-0, and everyone would be saying, we're Super Bowl bound, we're going to win the division, this is amazing. Even with just like 2 plays changing, like not the entire performance changing, 2 plays in each game changing. And instead, the Toyota chat says the season's a wrap, the team sucks, we're terrible. It's a crazy sport, man. And it's frustrating that the Broncos keep being on the other side of this. So I don't even necessarily blame everyone, because it feels like this just keeps happening over and over and over.
Yeah, I mean, the fans, this is an emotional game, so I understand where they're coming from. But yeah, you said game of inches, and the first thing that pops into my mind from this game when you're talking about the little plays, the details, I think about the Keenan Allen touchdown for them to tie the game up, where Zach Allen had the sack and Justin Herbert just makes a miss, and Riley Moss gets the touchdown caught on him, and everybody's going to blame Riley for his coverage not being great, or they're always picking on him, but it's hard to cover somebody for 6 seconds across the field.
Yeah,
he had him covered on the initial route. Yeah, he had him covered on the initial route and still covered him on the scramble drill. Keenan Allen is a great receiver, and he ended up making the play. But if you think about Zach Allen getting that sack, that never happens.
Yeah.
So those little things, that in the penalties on the one drive where we had to kick the field goal, where we had 1st and goal, and then you end up settling for a field goal. Like, those are the little things where you have to start thinking about, is it all on Bo, or Riley's not good? We should do a segment of this guy sucks and break down plays of where it's actually not that guy's fault. Because that's, people are just blaming people without looking at the entire play. So, yeah, it comes down to the little things, the little details, and, there is no substitute for experience. You got to, just is what it is.
Yep. Well, if you still believe, you're going to love the Broncos checking account from our friends over at Ent Credit Union. They're helping you make the most of this season with a sweet Broncos checking account. You get a Broncos-themed debit card. And for those of you who don't know, Ent is the largest credit union in Colorado, proudly serving communities all over the state. And they are the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos. This thing's cool because not only do you get a Broncos-themed card, but every 15 swipes on your Broncos checking debit card enters you for a chance to win home game tickets, a Broncos debit card, and a limited edition Bo Nix one that's available right now. You can also get 10% off food and gear on game days at Empower Field. Plus, there's no surprise fee. So if you're ready to bank like a Bronco, head over to ent.com/DNVR. That's ent.com/DNVR. To learn more, insured by NCUA, membership required. Account requires associated Ent Broncos debit card.
And shout out to our friends over at Taco Bell. Taco Bell's the best. I think Ryan said he got Taco Bell last night after the game. There's a Taco Bell on my way home. I'm not sure what Lexi is thinking for dinner, but there's a good chance that Taco Bell is going to be the answer. The tough part with Taco Bell is just figuring out what you want. Right now, they've got the Decades menu that's currently focused on Y2K. All sorts of awesome stuff from 25 years ago. Recipes from 25 years ago. They're making it now fresh. Cool Ranch Doritos Locos Tacos, Caramel Apple Empanada, Chili Cheese Burrito, 7-layer burrito, double-decker taco, all for $3 or less. All sorts of good stuff. And don't forget that you can get a $7 Buffs box with 4 Taco Bell classics and a collectible CU Player Cup featuring Jordan Seaton, Juju Lewis, Draylon Miller, or Quentin Gibson. Also want to give a shout out to Taco Bell because every time CU scores a touchdown this year, Taco Bell will help support CU athletics with a $1,000 donation to the Golden Buffalo Scholarship Fund. Go Buffs, Liv Moss, Taco Bell. Let's
stay with Hank here. Enter the Hank tank. What do you got for us tonight, Hank?
I think it's got to be the stock up, stock down. I think it's a classic, and it's a weird game for that. Because like Nik Bonitto's stock is up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Has to be.
Yes.
It has to be.
Yes.
But because you do feel or leave the game feeling better about Nik Bonitto. Has the 2 sacks, has some quick wins. Scares me a little bit that there was just no pass rush production on that final drive when the Colts are going down the field.
Chargers.
And I'm not sure what that is because Yeah, we see Nik win off the line over and over again, but is it just like a lack of change-ups, a lack of counters? You know, because it seemed like they were sitting on the outside move, that little ghost move he throws wasn't working. It's still stock up, but I think after a game like this, a lot of those stock ups, you still also wonder, like, where was that right at the end? You know, Cortland Sutton getting open on the deep ball. Makes a couple of big catches, tough catches short. But in those final minutes, again, like, where is everybody? And that's why stock up list is short. Maybe it's just J.K. Dobbins. I'm curious if you guys have anybody who you really leave the game saying, like, okay, this guy I feel better about now than I did before.
I got one. He just keeps doing it.
Yep.
Jonah Ellis.
Yeah, okay.
Jonah
There we go.
Ellis,
There we
man,
go.
that is a ball player. Like,
Yep.
I don't know any other way to describe him as that is a ball player. I love that guy, and I'm very happy he's on my team.
Yeah, I second what RK said. Jonah Ellis making plays all over the field on defense, forced fumble on special teams. So stock up for me. JK, I thought stock up. You know, he had the drive to open up the first half with, you know, I guess 3 carries for 66 yards or 3 runs for 66 yards, even though he caught a pass on that one.
Yep, one-handed.
I would also say, man, I guess he can't be stock up because of the penalty, but Talanoa Hufanga continues to show up everywhere and made some really big plays. He obviously had the bonehead play with the body slam, but he had some PBUs in there. He made great plays in the run game, but I don't know if I can do stock up just because he had the bonehead play on that final drive. So I won't say stock up anymore, but
That's what I'm
definitely Jonah
talking
Ellis.
about. It feels like with all these guys, there's just something that you look at and say, like, it just sings a little. Pat Surtain, I'd say stock is up. And it's not because he had like one of his best games. He did have a really good game. It's that there were just a couple question marks after last week.
Yeah.
It's like, it was a tough one. Like, cornerback is a finicky position.
His stock was as low as it's been in a while after last week.
Exactly.
So it's definitely up from there.
And you just see so many of those guys where it's like Nnamdi Asomugha or
Wow, I haven't heard that name.
even
forever.
Sauce. Like a whole bunch of guys where it's just kind of like these one-hit wonders or two-hit wonders. Tariq Woolen had that incredible season. And it just seems like all the best cornerbacks, you know, Darrelle Revis even, he had a little bit longer peak, but maybe not as long as you would have expected. So it's not that there are any concerns about Pat, but Pat having a really good game, giving nothing up, it does feel good and it makes you confident. You're like, yep, this is the same Pat as last year, which wasn't necessarily my feeling as last week.
Brandon Jones, maybe stock up. I mean, with the pick, I thought he played a solid game. Was in on the run game. I thought he played well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on my maybe list, mostly because I really liked him before and I didn't want just the, is it up or was he still just that same guy?
Yeah.
Stock down, though, I decided Riley Moss fits on the list. And it's not because I thought he was getting burnt repeatedly or anything like that. It's just that there is now a trend here, and it fits in the whole, this team is kind of the same team as last year's team narrative, where there are a lot of plays where he's in really good coverage, really good position, and the ball just gets by him. And he's got hand out there, and it could just as easily have gotten his arm and been knocked away. But there is a trend of, even when Riley is in really good position, he has a little bit of bad luck. And when bad luck is a trend, that's a little bit scary.
Yeah, it's weird. There's, I defend Riley because I've seen what bad cornerback play looks like, and this isn't it. It's actually good cornerback play, but you're right. It's this weird thing where it's like his arm's in there, and somehow their hands go around his hand, and their hands on the ball, and they caught it, and like that stuff doesn't happen with Pat Surtain. So I don't know. Is it? He's close.
Yeah, he's close. He's close.
Definitely close
He's
to
close.
making a lot of plays. He's close to the wide receiver when he's in coverage with them. And that's actually a weird trend over the last 2 weeks, too. It feels like teams are making great catches against us over and over and over again. And it's frustrating.
I'd throw Adam Troutman in there as a stock down.
Yeah.
Again, it's not because he had the one penalty today, which I know people are upset. I kind of think it was a penalty. Rule is no part of your body can be in the neutral zone, which is the length of the ball. And if you just look at where the ball is on the field and make that straight line, he was probably in there.
Just unacceptable.
Right, you just can't do that. And he had the penalty last week too.
Nik Bonitto lining up offsides on the punt early in the game. Unacceptable.
Just can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen?
Yes.
And so there are a lot of those. But again, it's the week to week. Like, okay, Adam Troutman. It's not that I'm out on him or think he's a bad player. It's just that, there are a couple mistakes there. The blocking hasn't been perfect. And when you're a guy right there with Nate Adkins back, I think the blocking needs to be a little bit closer to perfect. And the penalties just can't be there. So I'd say slight stock down there as well.
Everybody's killing Riley, man.
Everybody is.
I think he's an easy target.
Yeah.
I thought he played decent. I mean,
I know.
Yep.
The guys that are catching the ball on him are good. They don't suck. Like,
I know.
Lamb McConkey's good. Keenan Allen's good.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Like they made plays, and he's the second corner. He's also getting targeted the most. Like, if you target a corner 10 times in the NFL, like, he'll get 5 passes caught on him. We saw it the other day with Pat Surtain being Defensive Player of the Year. We saw it last week. They targeted him 9 times. Where he let up 6 catches, 5 catches. Now, it might not have been for a lot of yards, but like, Riley also did have some PBUs and did make some plays. So
he had maybe the defensive play of the game, the diving PBU that led to an interception.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and then there's the other one. I don't think it was a touchdown. Ball that goes over his head got called for pass interference too, I guess. But where it's another one of those, just like last week, where it's like, oh, he's inches away from knocking that ball down.
I know.
And again, if my opinion of Riley was more in line with the general consensus, I probably wouldn't be saying stock down today. But I do think that for me, somebody who thinks that, Riley is not only a starting cornerback in the NFL, but one of the guys you'd want if you're looking for a cornerback too. I do think that this trend of balls just getting by him and him being so close, it was time to say, it's a tick down.
This is a big trends game. It's week 3, so the sample size has become legitimate at this point. And so the Riley thing is a trend now. For some reason, even when he's in good coverage, wide receivers are catching the ball. Bo Nix overthrowing is now a trend. The Broncos sucking in the fourth quarter is now a trend.
Yep.
That one's the one that scares me the most. But now, yeah, I mean, even going back to the Titans game, they weren't good in the fourth quarter. And there's a couple misses by Cam Ward, a couple drops. But the Titans, that game could have been different. They're not ready to finish those games either. But you play against 2 better teams, and those teams were ready to finish these games. The Broncos still weren't. So it's a weird spot in the season now where it's that has happened 3 weeks in a row. I don't like that.
RJ Harvey hasn't. He had the one big run week 1. Still kind of waiting to. I want to be able to pound my fist on the table and say, put him in the game. But just with the opportunities he's gotten, JK has just been he's been a step, maybe even 2 steps ahead.
The Adam Troutman offsides was a Riley pop play, or was it RJ pop play?
It was.
RJ, did they say that he messed up one of the plays last week? He didn't get the right play call, or he messed up a couple of different alignments or plays last week where he went the wrong way?
Yeah, there was certainly one where he went the wrong way.
Yeah, I think he's thinking a lot out there because as explosive as he is, you're not seeing that just yet. And even on the kick return now, they've had him kind of split up to where they want Marvin returning it. He's just not hitting.
Looks scared.
He's not hitting the holes, running the ball, or the kick return wise. So he looks a little hesitant out there. He looks like a rookie.
Hank, you want to go rapid fire on a couple other ones, or are you good?
I think we're good.
Stock was a little down on Troy Franklin today.
Yeah, it's a concern that so many of his catches have just been kind of schemed up for him. Like the touchdown last week where he's lined up on the right side of formation, and so he snapped the ball, and he sneaks into the backfield and then bursts out. And it's not that he didn't make a good play, it's that
that's the whole
any
Broncos
receiver
offense
could probably make that play. And the screens were designed for him last week. And so you're just waiting to see him make more plays that are not necessarily just designed to be here's sneaky Troy. He's getting the ball in this play for sure.
But the Broncos' entire offense right now is we designed a really good play and you can't stop it.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But there's just only so many of those that Sean Payton can get in a game.
Yeah.
You have to be able to just call a regular concept and execute it.
Yeah.
RK, you brought this up in the last segment, and you talked about it looks like there is no timing and rhythm.
Yeah.
And that's very much what this offense is. Because even when we saw some of the replays, the receivers open out of the break, but there might be a little hesitancy from Bo or pressures in his face.
Yep.
Like when we think about Drew Brees or we think about the success within this offense, it's always been timing and rhythm. You think about Michael Thomas making those plays on those dig routes or any of their other receivers, it was always 1, 2, 3, throw, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, throw. And, it was a lot of timing. So I think that's something that we have to continue to watch for throughout the season.
Absolutely. Going to get to Zach Stevens from Los Angeles here in just a second, but first a shout out to our friends over at Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. I am a proud owner of a Toyota RAV4, best car I've ever owned, not even close. I love my RAV4, and I honestly cannot wait to add to my Toyota collection. I'm honestly just deciding, like, when the time comes. Am I going 4Runner or am I going Land Cruiser? Both are just so beautiful. And I was set on the 4Runner. And then they dropped this new Land Cruiser, and I'm like, ooh, that's pretty sexy. So that's a decision I have to make. But the decision you have to make is what Front Range Toyota store am I going to go to when I get my Toyota? But you have a lot of options, and they're all good. You can go to AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corbin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places, and let's go to Los Angeles right now, where our guy Zach Stevens is with us. Excited to hear from him about what this team had to say in the locker room, what Sean Payton had to say after this game. I haven't seen anything, so I'm interested. Let's bring in Zach. What's up, dude?
Fellas, it's good to see you, unfortunately, in these circumstances. And Ryan, you said you're excited to see me. That's very nice. I'm not excited to tell you what we just saw, what we just heard, because, Ryan, it's just the same shit, different week. It's the same shit, different year. And that's what pissed me off the most about this game. Wasn't just what we saw on the field, but it's what I heard after. And man, I just had flashbacks to 2017, to 2019, to 2023, to last year, to this year. And it's just the same story, a different week. And that was not supposed to be the case with Sean Payton. You traded a first and a second round pick here so that you didn't keep shooting yourself in the foot. You traded a first and a second round pick here and then drafted Bo Nix in the first round. So you had a dynamic offense. That wasn't the case today as well. And so it's the consistency of just those things being wrong, but then it's the inconsistency of the defense doesn't show up last week. They really show up this week. The offense shows up last week. They don't show up this week, and just things are not adding up. But the things that are consistent are the bad things, like the penalties, like not having an offense for an entire half. And you just can't have that if you want to be a good football team. And I was sold a bill of goods from this Broncos team, specifically from the very top with their head coach. This was a really good football team, a Super Bowl team, and we have not seen that really in the first 3 weeks. We've seen flashes of really good defensive play. We've seen flashes of really good offensive play. But guys, come on. We're 3 weeks in. I also listened to Sean when he told me this offseason, especially over this past month, how important it is to start fast and then build and get better in the first 4 weeks of the season. I'm just listening to the head coach here. What have the Broncos not done? They haven't started fast to the season. What have they not done? They have not gotten better and accelerated learning like Sean has one of them too in the first couple of weeks of the season. So I am concerned about this football team, and it's things that should not be happening to a well-coached team.
Zach, what did Sean say in his post-game press conference? Anything that stood out?
Yeah, I mean, it's the penalties. He said we got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. We have to stop doing these things. You're damn right you do, because 10 penalties for 90 yards, and it honestly felt like it was 20 penalties for 200 yards with how bad these penalties were. And it wasn't just like one player had a bunch of penalties. It was inopportune penalties at bad times, and it was on offense. It was on defense. It was on special teams. And when it comes to those penalties, I asked Sean about it, and he said he was like dumbfounded and disgusted and horrified. He said, we got to line up right. And it's like, at least he has that same philosophy, and he's not okay with it, because these penalties are just absolutely destroying the team right now and potentially cost them this game.
Yeah, it's frustrating, man. And you're We appreciate your fire on this. What did Sean say about Bo? What did Bo say about Bo? What was the vibe on Bo after this game? And what's your vibe on Bo?
Well,
start with you.
Two very different vibes here, guys. My vibe on Bo is exactly what you said, Ryan, and I felt it the exact same way throughout this entire game. That 52-yard touchdown was all on Sean. That was a fantastic play design. He called it at the right time. He set it up at the right time. And boy, was it a great call. That was all Sean. I mean, Cortland didn't do anything amazing. Bo didn't do anything amazing. That was a fantastic call. And it just felt like, and it's kind of felt like, when the Broncos need something on offense, Sean Payton's got to be in his bag. And I heard you say, like, Sean Payton can't be in his bag 70 of 70 plays and come up with 10 touchdowns in a game because he's diving into his bag every single time. You got to be able to execute a simplistic offense because you're only going to be able to dive into your bag and have certain plays a couple of times a game. Well, Sean's going to run out of those if he does those the first 3 plays of the game. And so that's concerning to me, and I think that really falls on Bo as the quarterback here. He needs to be able to run an offense without having crazy play designs left and right, and I did not think Bo looked good today. And in fact, when there were plays there, he missed. And I'm sorry, but you cannot go 1 for 3 on big-time plays if you want to be a big-time quarterback. Now, that can happen once every 16 weeks or so. Your quarterback can be off on big plays, but it can't happen, it can't be off 2 of every 3 games to start a season. So he's got to pick up the accuracy, whether it was the throw to Marvin Mims on 4th down that Sean dialed up, or the flea flicker, whether it was the one at the end of the game to Cortland Sutton. You have to hit those, and you can miss occasionally, but you can't miss more often than not on those. And that was something that Bo talked about at the end of the game. He said that play, they waited for that until that exact moment, that 3rd and 10, when Cortland has a step on the receiver, Bo has to hit him. They intentionally did a lot of outs throughout the game, and then that was an out and up, and it was meant to be used in that moment. And Bo just has to be more accurate. And guys, Benny, you'll know better than I, but it just looks like his footwork is just consistently off, not just in this game, but in the first 3 weeks of the season. That's something that needs to be cleaned up fast. So I mentioned that my vibe is very different than the vibe in the locker room. And from Sean, it was the words of J.K. Dobbins, and this was the vibe in the locker room. Bo had a great game. Don't put this game on Bo. We need to make plays for Bo. Bo is a great quarterback. He used those words right there. And look, I'm not jumping off the Bo ship after one game, but that's how the locker room was. They were 100% defending Bo. Sean defended Bo. And Bo did obviously fall on the sword as a quarterback should, but it was a very different vibe in there. And Bo just simply, in my opinion, needs to play better. And it's not all on him. Don't get me wrong here. You can't run with your starting running back 4 times for -4.5 yards. And all credit to J.K. Dobbins for what he did coming out of halftime. I mean, there was a 3-play, 66-yard touchdown drive. He was responsible for 66 of those yards. He was fantastic in the second half, so it's not all on him. But come on, guys, the running game can't be non-existent for a half, just like Bo can't be missing easy throws.
Well, I mean, Zach, going back to what you just said and what J.K. said, it's also the way we started this show, and something that I've been harping on is that I don't think it's all on Bo for those throws. I think the receiver, the way you run a deep route, you look up after you get past your defender, you take you take more steps, and then you look for the ball. I think it's hard to run when you're running, looking back for the ball. So I think we all have to go back and look at the film and watch and see that. So I don't think it's all on Bo. I think it could be on the receivers as well. So, JK, I'm with JK on that. I'm always going to defend the quarterback because it's the hardest position in sports to play. And the receivers have to go out there and make the plays. They have the experience. And yeah, we're talking about inches on the throw. So whether it's on Bo or it could be on the receiver as well. So after you get past a defender, and the proper way to look up, when you think about the way that great receivers track the deep ball, they always get past their defender, and then they look up for that ball.
Yeah, no, and Benny, you said earlier in training camp, when a receiver and a quarterback are not on the same page, you blame the receiver. Maybe that's just coming from you being a receiver, wanting to be critical on receivers. So I definitely will listen to you there, but it's not just those 2 plays either. I can think off the top of my head a ball that was behind Portland, a ball that was behind Troy, just 10, 15 yards down the field. And for me, Benny, I'm really curious when you go back and look at the film, what you have to say about Bo's footwork, because it seems like he's on his tippy toes when he has a clean pocket. It seems like he's throwing flat-footed a lot, and I'm not really sure what that is. But you're 100% right. It's not all on Bo. But 2 out of 3 weeks now, we've seen an offense score 20 points when most of the game, it doesn't even look like they're going to get to 20 points.
Wait, Zach, I just want to rewind a little bit here. I want to know where you're at on Bo big picture, because I think everyone is disappointed in the missed throws today. But the big kind of conversation here is a lot of people in the Toyota chat, I'm out on Bo. He's done. He's cooked. He sucks.
They want Stiddy in there, and they want Davis Webb to call the plays.
So I want to know where you are big picture.
Yeah, I'll say if Davis Webb is calling the plays, I mean, I would have trust in Davis Webb. But again, the Broncos are getting the points they're getting because of Sean Payton calling some pretty damn good plays. And I think we saw that last week as well. And I think we saw that in week 1 as well. So, no, Sean Payton should be the play caller here. And when it comes to Bo big picture, look, this starts with Sean Payton. Sean Payton told us in the next 2 years, he will be a top 4 or 5 quarterback in the NFL. So all of our expectations, reasonably so, should go up here. Sean Payton did not have to say any of that, but he put our expectations through the roof. Right now, I'm taking a big step back from that, obviously, and I need to see consistent play from him as this season progresses, and it needs to get better quickly with where this team is at. I might be getting kicked out of my spot right now, boys. I got security around me.
All right, we'll let you go. We got a bunch of super chats to get to.
I'm not supposed to have it on camera.
Wait, I want to watch this.
Put security on. Ask them what they think about the game.
All right, see you, Zach.
Shout out to Zach.
Zach was about to throw blows, man. I had to get him out of there. I didn't want him to be on camera, fighting. Yeah, I agree with what he said. It sounds like there wasn't a lot to report from the locker room. What can you even say after this?
I think the Broncos are pissed that you go into a game like that. You start off with a pretty bad first half. Then you go up 17-10 to start the
heartbeat.
The second half. And it's like you got all the momentum, and then you only score 3 points the rest of the game. And, I think Zach was pretty mad at Bo, and as well as the rest of the chat. Should have made some throws, and it comes down to execution at the end of the day. You got to be able to execute on your base plays, your staple plays, and that's what it comes down to. So, just not good enough.
Yeah. All right. Let's hit these super chats. We got a few of them. Shout out to the Toyota chat for hanging with us here on the DNVR Broncos postgame presented by Bet365. All right. First one here from Logan, who says, if this continues, what week would you be willing to see Stidham? Literally never.
Yeah. Week 17, like 18, whatever. Like when the season's over, we're not seeing Stidham. Bo's the first round pick. Sean, they're going to make this work. Just for people who don't understand this, Sean picked Bo. He is going to go down in flames with this. There is no Stidham. Yeah, because that would make him look wrong. So don't expect to see Stidham at all.
Yeah, there's no. I actually have a lot of respect for Jarrett Stidham. I think he's a very high end backup who could potentially start for multiple teams in the league. But your entire path to getting to a Super Bowl or winning the division or all of that goes through your ability to develop Bo Nix into that guy.
Yep.
You give up on that, you have to start everything all over.
100%.
And I don't think Sean Payton wants to do that. So with all due respect to Jared, it's not really about him.
Yeah.
This is all about Bo. You have to get Bo to that spot.
Yep.
Next one from Andrew says, Charger curse has transferred to the Broncos. Thank you, Sean.
It's looking like that right now.
Don't do this to me, guys. This is only week 3. I can't handle that. Next one from Not to Pot says, keeping the same energy as last week. Can't get stressed out. Sheesh, tough watch, but only thing that made this experience in a loss is my 3-year-old son. I'm reading the ones on that side, Dion. Is my 3-year-old son kept my same energy from start to finish. That is exciting.
Yeah,
You've
love that.
done
Shout out
well.
to your son.
Another one from Not to Pot. And we're going to overtime here. So if you are watching on your television, you can take it over to DNVR.com to see the rest of the conversation. Next one from Not to Pot. Bucket is filled. What about the fridge? Get with the program. Hank, your letters are upside down on your hat. Please stop moving those. All right, next one from Alaska Preston. Bro, you're killing me. Wait, where are we? So yeah, but okay. Yeah, there we go. Sean's play calling drives me to drink. Once again, DNVR is a bright spot of being a Broncos fan. Thank you guys and God bless. Thank you, Alaska Preston. And it's weird because we've said it on the show multiple times. The Broncos' entire offense is Sean Payton's play calling.
Yeah.
It's Sean figuring out a way to exploit a defense that he's going to see in a certain area and creating a big play because of it. So without Sean Payton, the Broncos don't really have anything on offense right now. That being said, a lot of like bickering about the down-to-down stuff, too many screens, et cetera, et cetera. My complaint tonight would just be like, I think we got away from the run too much, and I think that's definitely a Sean Payton bad habit, is to not stick with it.
Sean Payton's an elite play caller, right?
Yeah.
We'd say he's one of the top in NFL history.
Yes.
Mac Jones is starting for the 49ers.
Yes.
Carson Wentz started for the Vikings today.
Yes.
You have to call those types of plays for Bo Nix.
Sure.
Make it that easy. Kevin O'Connell has somebody easy open on every play.
Sure looks like
Kyle Shanahan does the same thing. That's when I am talking about play calling and what we're talking about. That's what I want to see. Make it so easy on Bo that he can't screw it up. And on some of those deep throws, yeah, you could say you can blame it on him. But yeah, I scheme it up on every play.
Okay. Next one from Jordan. Fix your extremely stupid title. Broncos, according to the NFL rulebook, were extremely disciplined in this game. I don't know what that means, but thank you for the super chat.
Means that
they
shouldn't have called the penalties.
Maybe they were saying
it was the refs who did it.
Or they got disciplined by the refs.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is from Not to Pot again. I think it's right under Jordan. No, we already got it. Under the green Jordan. Yep. Tell the fans. Tell the fans commenting some outlandish comments. Say it in a super chat. # support. There you go. Next one's from Aiden Chisholm. I need to see the offsides call again. Announcers were silent looking at the replay. 15-yard swing on that play. A lot of season left. Preseason hype too high, so the low's worse. 2 close losses to potential top 4 seeds. Breathe.
I agree with that.
I'll get there. We just need a win, and then I can flush it. Like the Buffs did over the Wyoming Cowboys. And the next one comes in from Wyoming Cowboy, who says, next game is against the Bengals on MNF in our house. This will be our get-right game, LFB.
Better hope so. Because if they lose that one, oh, man.
Yeah, opportunities abound to figure it out. You get a Monday Night Football game. Narratives change on Monday Night Football. Bo Nix goes out there and balls and hits those long passes instead of missing them. Everything changes. You go to the Eagles next week. Everything, you have a chance to change narratives. But you also have a chance to screw this up and end the season before it starts.
Bengals got some players coming in here, and they just got blunt. They just got embarrassed. So
yeah, they're going to have a hell of a week of practice.
Yeah.
Next one's again from Jordan, $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Seriously, have some integrity, unlike the league, and call out the atrocious, blatantly horrible officiating. You guys have enough sponsors to make up for it if you get fined like players and coaches. We don't get fined. I'm never afraid to blame a game on the officials if I feel like they were the main reason why we lost. I just don't feel that way tonight.
I don't feel that way either.
No, I thought the penalties were the right calls.
I've gotten a lot of heat from people that you can't blame it on the officials. Like I'll happily blame it on the officials if I think it's their fault. I just don't think it was tonight. Sorry. Another one from Not to Pot. Zach, yes, this shit, same shit. What do you say? Same shit, different week. Same shit, different year.
Yeah.
Kind of cooked
He
there.
was pissed.
That was a bar. Hayden says Sean's play calling in the clutch is bad. Bo Nix draw on 1st and goal. Our LBs are a huge concern. Riley Moss is a liability. Williams is eating in Dallas. Our O-line is not elite, and Bo can't miss 3 TDs. Thank you for the super chat, Hayden. Next one from Wyoming Cowboy. I feel Zach's anger and relate. I'll buy him a beer at the tailgate on Monday. Well, how about this? If you go to the tailgate, the beers are free.
Yeah.
So yes, you could buy him a bunch of beers. Next one from Not to Pot. $2. RK. Sounds like the fans aren't fanning LMFAO. Next one from Jordan, $10 super chat. Thank you, Jordan. Put Forsyth and Palcho in over Wattenberg and McGlinchey. Both are better at pass blocking and rush blocking. Take the fines. Call out horrible officiating. Mims needs to learn when and when not to dive. Thank you. And last one here from Brian Smith, $1.99 super chat. Appreciate you, Brian, who I actually think is a Chargers fan. So thank you for the super chat. All right, fellas, let's close this out here. Benny, any final thoughts to get off your chest before we call it a night?
These games are out here. I mean, the Broncos aren't getting blown out. There are some opportunities out here, and I think the Broncos need to just continue to practice, get better. Timing and rhythm has to get better on offense. Defense, thought they played a pretty good game. You just got to finish certain things. Zach Allen on the potential sack where Riley Moss got the touchdown called on him, some of the third downs. But, it's only up from here. You got to build. You got to build on that. No, you got to go through it to get to it like I started the show. So on for another, Monday Night Football next week.
I think the best take of the night came from the Hank Tank. And so I'm just going to re-say it, and then maybe someone will see it and think it was my take, which was the Broncos are close. The Broncos are really close, and close just isn't good enough. This team was supposed to be past the close phase by now, and they aren't. So that was a great take by Hank, and I liked saying it as well. Henry, final thought.
Yeah, no, you pointed out that was a smart. Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah, there's probably a couple
Yeah,
there's probably a couple other places, but
honestly, I could go for some horseshoes right now. I could also throw some hand grenades.
Wow.
Yeah.
Close definitely doesn't count in the win and loss column.
No.
And that's where the Broncos find themselves right now. They are now what we talked about in the pregame and leading up to this week. You have to chase now. You're chasing potentially for the rest of the season to try to get out of the hole that you have dug here. We knew the opportunity that existed today. They had a chance to be in first place, looking down at the Chargers. All they had to do was finish off a game that they led in the fourth quarter, and they couldn't do it. Super, super frustrating. And now they have their work cut out for them to get where they want to go this season. We'll, of course, be with it the whole way. We appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight, and we will catch you tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.